I'd like to discuss two very popular brushes. In fact, the oldest brush that we have in decorative art, a round brush, and I'm going to show you a larger sized liner. In the round brush, I have here a 3 and a 4. You choose your brush depending on the pressure that you exert on the brush as you make the stroke. So I have a 3 round, a 4 round, and this one is a number 5 short liner. Now, in looking at the brushes, what you will notice is that the short liner has a longer length out than the rounds. To start a young artist with the round brush, the most traditional brush, I have a hard time trying to decide whether to start them with the short liner or one of the rounds. And let me show you why. Let me do some strokes and illustrate that. The most common stroke in decorative art is the comma stroke. I'm going to take a number 3 round. It's just been unpacked, so I'm going to put a little water in it. I'm going to select a color, bring that color down and mix it with a painting medium, or in this case, some water. After I mix, I'm going to blot the brush. I try not to get the paint too much more than 3/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch up in the brush. Now set the brush down, pull, lift. You notice I do not twist the brush. Set the brush down, pull, and lift. When you see a lot of streaking at the end of the stroke, you need to get a little more moisture in your brush. Now, it may be a little bit easier for you to make the stroke sideways. Also on the palette, I have a medium called Clyster. Clyster is one of my favorite mediums. Now, when I leave the palette for a comma stroke, I'm going to leave it with the brush flattened. Let me show you the brush. See how I flattened it? You notice I am not twisting the brush. You shouldn't have to twist the brush. Now, it's a little bit different if you want texture. These are a more transparent, watery stroke, okay? Now let me show you this same stroke with the short liner, a number 5 short liner. Again, there was packing material in the brush. I'll take a color, take a little painting medium, which could be water, or in this case I'm using Clyster. Now, see the longer length out? I'm not having to get the paint up into the ferrule. Again, I want to leave the palette with the brush flattened. Let's look at the brush. Set the brush down, relax, and pull. Set the brush down, relax, and pull. And this brush will make a great big stroke. Let me get more paint in the brush. My paint is a little stiff because the palette I'm using is about 4 weeks old. So this brush can give you a nice big comma, or a very small comma. It's all in the handling of the brush. An S stroke is pointed, fat belly, pointed, point, push, point. So you have two brushes to look at. I don't like that little thing right there. You want to hold the brush straight up as much as possible. Don't twist it. There's a large and a small. Now you can get the same thing with your round brush, but having the longer hairs out makes the short liner a brush that will wear longer, because you're not getting the paint up into the ferrule. I noticed that some people put the paint clear up to the ferrule in their round brush. You shouldn't have to. That's really not a good idea. The paint will then collect at the ferrule, eventually drying, especially in the center, and it's a short-lived or lived brush. So again, here's a round, and a number 4, and here's a 5 short liner.